RTE got a bit of grief for a promotional video that described Friday's TV game between Shelbourne and Bohemians as the big one. It's difficult to know where it sits in the pecking order of Dublin rivalries. Bows have their Shamrock Rovers history, while the Shells and St Patrick's Athletic squabbles, they can get pretty personal. But that doesn't mean that the Northside neighbours are great pals. Supporters were never keen on the idea of them moving in together at Dalymount Park. And when that story really gathered legs, and I suppose this is the key, Shells were in the First Division and seemingly going nowhere. But they've regained their identity under Damien Duff. Bows, around that time, they were threatening to challenge for leagues under Keith Long, but Shells have now overtaken them. We're only a quarter of the way into the season, but there's already an 11-point gap between Shells at the top and Bows in mid-table. Shells also have a number of ex-Bows players in their ranks who seem to have found another level under Duff. The winter capture of John O'Sullivan, that sort of smacked of a project to show that he could thrive in the Shelbourne culture. He struggled at Bows. The games between these sides have been tight, and a strong Shells finish at Dalymount earlier this season finalised Declan Devine's departure. Alan Reynolds, his replacement, is still finding his way, and the inconsistency of performances so far, that reflects the thrown-together nature of the squad. Shells will ask questions of Bows in the defensive midfield department with the movement of their front four, but it still could be a tricky game for them. It would be a surprise if Bows and Reynolds allowed themselves to get caught out easily on the counter-attack, so it could be a cagey one. It was obvious before the start of the season that a UCD-free league would put extra pressure on managers, but it's still a little bit surprising that we've lost two already, with Stephen O'Donnell's Dundalk exit earlier this week following on from Devine's farewell. Interim team Liam Burns and Brian Gartland are preparing for the visit of St Patrick's Athletic, with Dundalk hoping for that inexplicable bounce that can just sometimes happen with a change of voice. But the real fear from a Dundalk perspective is they don't really have a squad with the profile for a relegation fight. The Saints came from behind to beat Shamrock Rovers last week, but they did lose Rory Keating to an injury. Mason Melia is a huge talent, but leading the line on that Dundalk Astro would still be a big responsibility, so John Daly would have to consider his options. The atmosphere around the game will be interesting too, because Dundalk fans can be pretty harsh on a squad if they feel they are underperforming. They'll need to get them on side early in this match. It's Rovers v Rovers in Tala, with the champions looking to bounce back from the surprise defeat in Inchicore. Stephen Bradley has put bad results this year down to switching off for vital periods of matches, small periods of matches. But it's got to be a worry that it's happened a few times now. This is still a good opportunity to get back in the groove though. Sligo, they've caused a few problems for Rovers in recent years, but they were poor enough in their last game away to St Patrick's Athletic. Drogheda have been living up to their name a little bit too much lately, with last Friday's injury time concession against Shells going down in Kevin Doherty's book as another match where they dropped 2 points. Derry have been vague on Patrick Hubin's fitness, but they could really do with his presence for a game like this, as Drogheda are smart enough to soak up pressure if the visitors are passing the ball around in front of them. Promoted sides Waterford and Galway United meet at the RSC. Galway have a great record against Waterford on the John Caulfield, and they came from behind to win in their last meeting with a strong second half display. Waterford have scored 6 more goals than Galway this season, but they've also conceded 5 more. Their clean sheet in Dalymount last week was badly needed. Down in the First Division, Cork City started running the road with an away date in Belfield, while a fixture of note is the newest Munster derby, with Treaty United hosting informed Kerry, who are unbeaten in 6. Their last defeat was actually against Treaty. We'll have our usual post-match video review on the Irish Independent website.